How we doing? Welcome back. So, I'm here at Huck Core. I'm with Marcelo.
How you doing?
He is the owner and the man who invented Huck Core. So, pretty much, I'm just going to try and find out some info and find out how this all started. So, what happened? What happened that made you want to start something like this?
Right, so I've been involved with functional training for over 20 years. So I got a degree in sports science, and since I was studying, I specialized in functional training for performance. So at the beginning, because I was always involved with combat sports, we worked mostly with combat sports athletes, including the Judo Olympic team back in 2000, so a long time ago. And then when I moved into Australia about to be 16 years ago now, 2006 I got it, so yeah, so 16 years. 15, about 16. Anyway, don't worry about my maths. So basically the idea is I always had this concept of having a facility that would include everything that a fighter would need. And that's how I came up with my first gym that I've been running in the CBD for about 11 years now, the Ultimate Fitness Center. So basically I did a facility where we were going to have all sorts of conditioning and specific functional training for combat sports. Also we would have different modalities, like you were saying, the boxing, the kickboxing, the Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling all in one place, so you don't need different memberships.
Oh, that's good.
And then basically that idea is also the concept of the Huck Core facility that we call it. That's not a gym, it's Huck Core.
Yes, I love
that. Because it's something that is for mountain bikers, and only mountain bikers really come here. If you're not a mountain biker, you're more than welcome, but like I have a friend of mine who's starting actually this week, that he rides a bike to commute, but he saw us training, and he's not a gym person, he hates gym. But he saw it, and then he looked and he said, oh, that looks appealing, I want to give it a crack. So I said, yeah, right. And he goes, oh, do I need a bike? I said, you don't really need a bike, but I guarantee once you start hanging out with us, you're probably going to get a bike. So have your wallet ready.
I know a lot of people who commute to work on bikes and stuff like that, or they just get a bike for the exercise. Like that's what I did when I first started, got a bike for the exercise.
Yeah.
But once you do that, you just want to ride, and once you start doing downhill and you start riding over rocks, and you look at something and you're like, I can ride down that. Then you want to do more, and that's what this will help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So the whole idea is to speed up a little bit the process to bring the stoke factors to the maximum levels, because we all want when we start, especially when we start. Yeah, this is for all levels. So it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or if you're a pro. The sessions are going to tailor to everyone, but it's like exactly how you're saying. I remember when I first started mountain biking, I stopped beside this drop, and then I just looked, and I looked quite lost, because I was like, nah, this is impossible, nobody's going to say this. And right as I said that to myself, came this guy flying on it, and I was like, oh. Anyway, it didn't took about, and then I set that as a goal, and I was like, oh, I want to do that one day. And honestly, it didn't take me probably 6 months I was saying that. So yeah, it's pretty cool, but the thing is, back onto the concept. So Huck Core was invented after one actually event that didn't go so well for myself. I had a massive crash because I was just full on stupid. I tried to do things that was out of my comfort zone too early, with wrong bike setup. I was tired already. Anyway, it was a total formula for disaster, and I said that the worst sentence, the banned sentence, just one more. Yeah,
that's terrible.
Exactly. So anyway, I ended up with multiple fractures. To be more precise, I had 13 fractured ribs. Both of my wrist bones was also fractured, so I was on a cast and a whole lot of pain. 2 days in ICU, and I spent a week in hospital. And then in that week in hospital, yeah, I was just like thinking, because it was such a good progression, you know. I think that was one of the things that I think people sometimes they don't read that's coming a crash if you don't hold yourself back a little bit, because you go progressing, but you got to stop progressing and just Allow yourself to travel in that line, and actually that progression becomes something that you're comfortable with before you step up. It's not because you want to do, you did something 3, 4, 5, 10 times that you actually can do it. So you've got to do hundreds of times, and then you can do it. But to say that to yourself when you're hungry for progression is hard. Anyway, then during my stay in the hospital, because I couldn't do anything, I was just lying down in bed, I tried to study as much as I could for recovery, and I tried to apply to myself all that recovery system that I was studying about. So within the recovery system, because I couldn't move, I had to start from the bottom, how was going to be my regaining of movement, my coming back to the bike, my coming back to my daily activities, you know what I mean? Even to walk was a struggle, but I was forcing myself to walk. So basically, on day 8, after that crash, I jumped on my bike with a cast and I just strolled 10 laps around the park with my kid, because he looked at me and he goes, "Daddy, can we go for a shred?" And then my eyes just went like watery, and I was like, fuck, how am I going to say no? And I said, yeah, let's go for a shred. So I went with one hand on the bike, the other cast resting on the seat. It's quite stupid. I don't recommend you do that. But for me, knowing how crazy I am, you know what I mean? And I operate well under pressure, I went really safe, on total flat, strolling around the park. That boosted my confidence so much. Basically, my recovery, what I was doing, the key points, was 3 key points. First one, I cut off the drugs, because I realized that I would rather be in more pain, but don't be drowsy and feeling depressed because I couldn't move, than not feeling pain, but then having naps during the day and not sleeping well at the night. So I cut off the drugs. Sleeping time is sleeping time. It's only when you are in bed at the night. So you go to bed at the night, then you sleep, a nice 8 hours sleep. During the day, I wouldn't sit down, not even to watch TV. I would just be doing stuff the whole day. So if I sit down, it would be to study. You know what I mean? Or even to chill a little bit and watch TV, but I would be watching videos related to recovery, to training, just feeding my brain with positivity.
Focus, right?
Yes, focus, because what your brain thinks, your body does, and your body is amazing, like how mental healing actually applies, and it's effective. People really underestimate the power of your thoughts. Your thoughts are the most powerful thing you have in your body. You know what I mean? If you think it's going to go wrong, there is already 99% chances that it's going to go wrong. Same when you're riding, you've got to commit.
That's exactly right.
You know what I mean? So
or if you say one more time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, one more time. But basically, then when I was up, I would walk my dog, I would play with my kid, I would just focus on any kind of mobility that I could apply in my body. And then the third rule that I adopted was a healthy diet and supplements. Yeah, so those 3 basic rules was just basically the key for the whole recovery. And then the first thing that I could do for movement was the trailhead warm-up.
Okay, yeah.
And I call it the trailhead warm-up because one of the worst things, and I can label probably #1 bad habits on mountain bikers, is not warming up.
Yeah, just going in cold.
You know, and it's
I do
something
it all the
that,
time.
yeah, and it's something that is not just bad because you don't do it, but it's bad culturally because people feel shy of stepping out on the side and actually doing some stretches and exercises because people just gonna look at you and think, oh, look at that guy. You know, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally stupid because you are the one who, if you don't warm up, your body's not gonna be ready, and then you're gonna drop straight in and then you're gonna crash. And not that guy that's laughing of you warming up. Let him crash because he's laughing, and who's gonna be laughing after? I was in Marimba. I was doing my warm-up, so I was doing the trailhead warm-up. And usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes, depends on how much more I'm going to add or not. There is a formula, but I always can do a little bit more, add some extra stretches. Anyway, but it's minimum 10 minutes, the warm-up. And then these guys was watching me, and then they just came and just gave a little banter, you know what I mean, joking around, oh yeah, you're stretching, blah, 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 yeah, anyway. And then they dropped in before me. And I gave to them at least, I think, probably 30 seconds, if not more. I wasn't counting, but I gave them a good gap. And then I dropped in, first drop. I didn't stop from top to bottom. Halfway they were stopping. Dying. Right. And then I just went flying from top to bottom the first drop because my body was ready. You know what I mean? I could take it. Obviously, I got the arm pump you usually get from the first round, which is something that is things that it's really impossible to don't happen unless you really dial in and you're riding a lot. But yeah, that's basically, then when we came back out, so that they came to me and said, oh, I respect your warm-up and your stretches. You were really...
See, that's awesome. They actually respected the fact that you were doing this warm-up. They got you in straight away. Because you were warm and your mentality was right
that's
there.
Right.
Was there.
Because it's not just your body. Your brain needs to be switched on to send signals to your muscles to react. Like, you don't get out of bed and you're ready to walk in a straight line, for example, simple as that. Yeah. If you just try that, do a test, get out of bed and say, I'm just going to walk in a straight line. You're not going to be sharp.
You always have to kind of like get up and settle yourself.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. And the same thing is with your body. And then your body is not on a bike. It's a totally different thing. So when you're going to get on a bike, your joints are going to be moving in all funny angles. If you don't first let them move without the pressure in those funny angles, your ligaments, all the elements involved in your joints, they are not ready, they are not flexible enough. It's easy to have an injury. Your muscles, they are not pumped of blood. When they are pumped of blood, they can lengthen easier. They can absorb whatever forces you're putting into your body easier. And not just that, they have more fluid that makes the signal that is sent from your brain, which is an electric signal, be more responsive. So it speeds up basically everything. So it's physiology. That was my favorite subject in uni, was physiology and body mechanics. So basically you've got to understand what muscles is going to be used in the movement, and also you're going to understand how to activate those muscles. And then once you understood that, you drop into the bike. Your brain doesn't know if what you were doing before was on the bike or not. Those muscles are on. Those muscles are on. And then when you get on the bike, they are going to be on. Obviously, it's going to be different, but...
Especially for something like a rimba, for example, when you live in Sydney, you're driving an hour and a half or whatever to go to a rimba. So you're sitting in the car, relaxing, doing nothing. So yeah, your body's
fully asleep. You get out of that and you're like, oh, and you just gear up, boom. And another fact, it's not like sometimes... Don't get me wrong, a warm-up could be anything. Could be, for example, you just jump on the bike and ride for 10 minutes until you get to the trailhead on the road.
Right, the uphill.
You know what I mean? Right there uphill on the final trail. Yeah. That could be a warm-up. But if you're going to drop straight away from a downhill track like at Warringah downhill, like do a warm-up first.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to Bear Creek and straight away start sending the A-line jump, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
do a warm-up first. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're going to land off the jump, you're going to be all stiff. And that's a formula for disaster.
And could a warm-up, like at Bear Creek, for example, could a warm-up be going on the pump track and going around?
Exactly.
Around there,
that's exactly. You're not necessarily, if you feel that you're just going and doing the warm-up that is the trailhead warm-up, which consists of exercises for mobility and a little bit of stretching, don't do it. Go on the pump track, exactly. And do the pump track for the first 10, 15 minutes, whatever. You'll be switched on, but do a warm-up. That's the thing. Do a warm-up. You don't need to do exactly what I'm going to show maybe for you today, but yeah, do a warm-up. So back to the concept of Huck Core. Once I came back with the trailhead warm-up, which was my first movement that I was doing because I couldn't do this. So the first exercise of the trailhead warm-up is a full range of motion, turn off the shoulders backwards, and I couldn't even do that. I could do this, but I had 13 broken ribs. Right? So, and then I was progressing to, and then when I was doing that, I had a pool table in my lounge downstairs. My sort of was like the pool room, or the pool room, yeah, the man cave.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna set up a home gym because it's gonna be a while until I'll be able to actually do a heavy workout. But I gotta work on this. And then I already had a bit of equipment here and there. And the first thing that I did is I ordered a rig row over there. I set up the manual machine that I had already at home too. I got a couple of kettlebells, dumbbells, and then I started building stuff. Like I got a handlebar and I stuck that thing there, stuck in a medicine ball to be able to use a weighted handlebar. And then I just started to study every sort of body mechanics involved when I am on the bike. And because I ride, I'm not a pro, but I can ride. You know what I mean? I'm very good at crashing.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. Getting better though, not crashing as much, which is good. But so I start to just do all these compound exercises and focusing in building all the specific resistance your muscles need to endure when you're on the bike, to be able to ride for longer, not having so much fatigue, because fatigue is the major factor of injuries and crashes.
Yeah.
So the main concept was that, and then because it came from a question, we will talk about crashing. One of the things that I did really wrong, that probably is why I broke so many ribs, was I didn't bail. So I started working on also exercises how to bail. So you're going to be practicing shoulder rolls till you bail. That I had a lot of front rolls, shoulder rolls. You don't fall flat like a pancake on the floor.
Yeah.
I like jumping over the handlebars because the motion is something that if you practice before, you're going to be able to do it.
So it incorporates all that sort of stuff. So you get handlebars and you jump over handlebars. You get on the mat and you do front rolls.
Exactly.
You do like sideways movements and stuff.
That's it.
So that you can sort of have the handlebars with you so that you know what's going to happen.
That's right. That's right. That's right. The idea, and a lot of the guys that they train with me, once they had questions, they actually apply and they send me the videos and they say,
does that come like, it's like sort of like in second nature?
That's exactly right.
Is that the idea behind it?
Yeah, that's what we call it muscle memory. Yeah. So basically, what we want to do is not just with the bailing, but with all the techniques, like for example, on the manual machine, we practice also to when you land it, you jump off and save yourself, right?
Yeah.
For example, but some people don't think that quick. So then we practice here a lot of that stuff, but also that muscle memory is something that's going to come because you're practicing exactly the same movement patterns and in the correct order. So that synchronizes the muscles, build what we call a coordination, right?
Yeah.
That where you're going to have the right form when you're doing a turn, for example. How many of us think when you're doing a turn of what muscles to engage first? No, man, probably not. Probably not.
Not at all.
Probably not. But here,
I was thinking about, I try not to lean too much to crash.
exactly. But here, you will, and you're not on a bike. And again, we've got to go back to that process. Oh, what do I have to do first when I am on a turn? Turn my handlebars? No, I've got to turn my hip. I've got to look at my axle. And then I'm going to have a minimum turn of my handlebars, actually. I'm going to have weight transfer to make sure. And I'm going to have angulation. Yeah, so all the technique to make the bike turn. But then you think, and you say to yourself, and you listen to me repeating what you should be doing in that exercise, and then you repeat that exercise for about 4 minutes almost per class.
Okay.
Once you finish that, your brain builds that kinetic chain to recruit those muscles in that specific order. Once you are on the bike, you're not going to think. You're going to go naturally to that. So these are the Huck Core classes. That's why I came up with the Huck Core class. So Huck Core classes are functional training specifically for mountain bikers.
Okay.
The keyword there is functional. Functional means purpose. And then when you have purpose, that means you've got a reason to do that.
Yeah.
And mountain biking is the reason. And that's why everything is specific, right? So those classes was where I started. And then once I started, I was just building a system of functional training for mountain bikers. But then I just went back 12, 15 years ago when I was developing my facility for fighters and my concept for fighters. And then what happened was with that very first group, I realized that because they were doing just the Huck Core classes, that was not really complete. And riders, they have a massive lack of mobility because they overuse the same muscle groups on riding and they do nothing else most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
So don't get me wrong, like you were saying, if you go to a normal gym, yes, it's going to help. If you just want to do an online training course, of course it's going to help. Obviously, if you do whatever physical activity you decide to do, it's beneficial to you.
Yeah.
But if you're after something specific for mountain biking, if you're after something that's going to improve more performance and give you the perfect balance, you want to get something that's more specific. Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
And then the mountain bikers with ridiculous lack of mobility, doing just the hardcore classes, made me realize that we need more mobility classes. And then I just opened this facility and I thought, okay, the classes we need to do is going to be the hardcore, also a lot of flexibility classes. So I introduced a mobility class and also a yoga class, because the other thing I see, one of the reasons why I love mountain biking, probably most of us love mountain biking, is the mental aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really see clearly the benefits that has in my mental health when I exercise and when I go for a ride.
It's just so freeing.
Not many other things have the same effect on me.
Yeah.
And that's because physiologically it changed the way our bodies function. It changed the enzymes, the hormones that we are producing in our body that's going to change the chemistry in our brain and make us happy.
Yeah.
So basically that's something that is not magic, is actually real and is science-based. But the mountain biking aspect in my life opened up a whole new way of seeing life and a whole new way to fight my anxiety, because I suffer a lot of anxiety. I am perfectionist. I punish myself if I don't do everything perfect. I'm never going to do perfect. So it's a pretty bad state of mind.
Mentally,
it's very punishing. So I need to always be finding ways to fix that. And that's when I found that the Huck Yoga, which is our yoga class for mountain bikers, is something that's very important too, because in that class we are going to take time, because even when I go for a ride, when I exercise, yes, I feel naturally happy after, but I didn't fix the problem. I didn't really took my time to deep breath and unwind and focusing on what's happening on my body and thinking in parts of my body that needs more attention, thinking what happened in my day that I want to erase, thinking what I don't want to be thinking about it tomorrow and put it behind. You know what I mean? So taking a little bit of a time to our mindfulness and self-awareness in that class.
Yeah.
So I added that too, which comes with also a very nice mobility class combined. So we're going to work on mobility and your mindfulness in that. And then once I started doing those classes, we got a lot of kids. Yeah, so I realized that Huck Core was really popular among early teenagers. So we got a lot of kids that they are on their 14s to 18s. Yeah, so lots of them.
That's good.
Which is great,
Yeah.
because first of all, kids who are into biking, there's not really many things for them to do all that they are going to really enjoy.
No, that's right.
And they need so much this for their formation. Like their body are in a very important phase where if you don't feed them with the correct kind of activities, it can go really wrong. So this kind of activity is so good because it builds their whole body as a whole in all the aspects. But I noticed that a lot of the functional training from the Huck Core for these kids was extremely challenging. Not because they were not able to understand, but because they were physically not as strong as they wish they could be to do those exercises.
Okay.
And a lot of kids, they are very self-conscious when you are in a group, and if they can't do the exercise that their buddy are doing, they feel bad.
Yeah, they feel very competitive.
You know what I mean? They feel very competitive. Here, not so much as a normal gym, but when I see, it's not even a competition, they are all very supportive actually, but I can see that deep inside, they're like, oh, I wish I could be doing that. And then what I did is, I implement also a strength and conditioning class, that we isolate the muscles and focus only on build up quality of movements and strength. And then those classes is the Huck strength class. And then there you have it. And then that's our system, right? So you have Huck Core classes that's rated from green diamond, blue diamond, black diamond, obviously that increases the intensity and the complexity of the classes.
Yeah.
And then we have the Huck strength, and we have the Huck mobility, and we have the Huck Core. So those all combined, if you can fit in your week about one of each a week, 3 sessions, 4 sessions a week, plus your normal riding, plus your day off where you're just gonna do nothing and rest, you should be able to get it all together there.
It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's my absolutely favorite job I ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Because we get here and it's just mountain bikers with no ego. I get 50-something ladies mixed in a class with 14 years old, with a pro rider, you know what I mean, with a 40-year-old man, family guy, all together, and they're all just loving it and having a great time. And then the lady who can't do what the other kids doing, the kids are supporting her.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think they're egging her on. Come on, you can do this.
You know what I
can do
mean?
this.
Like it's everybody just stoked
It's
for
just
everybody
like
to do
when you're
better.
on the trail. When you go down the trail and you're like, I can't do that drop. It's like, yeah, you can. Come on, all you got to do is follow me in. You can do this.
That's
You can do that.
exactly right.
It's the mountain biker sort of thing.
Mentality.
The mentality, yeah.
That's it. If you're a mountain biker, we're going to be talking bikes. We're going to be hanging out with mountain bikers. We're going to be having also social events where we go for rides. You know what I mean? So it's just the place to be. It's just really fun.
Cool. All right. So this is what it is all about. This is the whole idea. It's Huck Core, Huck Yoga. What else was there?
Huck mobility
Huck mobility
and Huck strength.
and Huck strength. All of these different types of things, all set up for the mountain biker. No egos, no nothing. Just get in there, have fun, work on your body, work on your mentality, and work on your fitness. So we're going to get into it. We're going to have fun, and all the details for Marcelo and Huck Core will all be in the description below. And I'll put it in my Instagram as well. So contact him. Come to Huck Core. Come out here and have some fun. So stay tuned. We're going to do a full series of this, and we're going to have some fun. And Marcelo is hopefully, because I don't know how good I am, but hopefully he's going to transform me, and we're going to work it out so that the stuff that I do on the trail right now, we can do a lot better, and I can go a lot further. So sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Remember, as I always say, love your kids, always. And it's Huck Core. Get in there. Let's have some fun. Yeah.